Hello everyone, welcome to the first episode of a hopefully energizing series of discussions in a podcast called Let's Talk About It. I'm Hannah, I'll be guiding you through this food for thought for the day. And we'll be talking about unity and passion for the next 4 minutes or so. I like to keep it brief. And I really want to dig deep into it because I just finished this book called Siddhartha by Herman Hesse. It's a phenomenal book if you haven't read it. It's a classic. And it follows the life of this young man who grows up in a wealthy home. And he realizes that he wants so much more from it. So he leaves his family, he leaves everything behind to become this wanderer, someone with no possessions, someone who focuses solely on meditation and waiting and patience and fasting and has no earthly cares. Later on, he discovers that earthly cares are significant, and being spiritual doesn't mean you don't have any earthly cares at all. So I'm wondering where materialism and spirituality collide in this world, or how we see the world. And it really got me thinking about unity. Now, I believe that everything is connected, every living being and every pebble, every grain of sand, every drop of water, everything is connected. I'm connected to inanimate objects just as I'm connected to animate objects. In this grand scheme of time, at the end of the day, time doesn't exist. That's another discussion. But you have to realize that you are unified to everything. And once you realize that, you have this sense of love that overcomes you. Now, I've been going through this spiritual funk for the last few weeks where I just didn't feel anything, didn't really feel any spark, but reading this book really helped me realize that passion is everything. Passion is what drives us, and only John from Brave New World can say it, can describe it and do it justice. In the book he says, I want God, I want poetry, I want real danger, I want freedom, I want goodness, I want sin. Now he talks about contradicting things. He wants sin and he wants goodness. He wants danger and he wants freedom. And the reason behind that is that goodness and sin come from the same source. They're from the same body. They're not really separate. We just kind of term these things as separate so that we can understand them better because our minds are finite. And we put labels on things. They don't really exist. Things stem from the same source, and the same is true in nature, the same is true in relationships. Reminding yourself that you are as much yourself as you are the person next to you. It's very humbling. I'm not a Buddhist personally. I'm not Hindu. I identify as Jewish, but this mysticism that I read really struck me to my core, and I could connect my own identity to it, and I feel like other people do too. Like all these boundaries between religion, it makes me think if they're necessary. So, that's my thought for the day. If you have any questions, please feel free to message me or DM me on Instagram. Or if you have any comments, I would love to have this back and forth discussion. That's why I really wanted to do a podcast like this. And I have a lot to say, but this is a very short amount of time that I allotted myself. So if you ever want to discuss more, just reach out and I will be glad to talk to you. Have a good night, everyone. Thank you for listening.